Hello, welcome to Community Case Studies. This is a look at how belonging is really built. I'm your host. My name is Seth Resler, and in every episode, I sit down and talk to somebody, or in today's case, some buddies, who are actually in the thick of it. They are running a community, and we talk to them about how they're doing it and how they are using certain universal principles that apply to all communities and how they're putting those principles into action. My guests today are the founders of Yellow Tuxedo, which is not your average marketing company. They are all about teaching small business owners and freelancers how to stand out in the crowd. They offer practical support, training, and mentorship in their Digital Circus community. He is the creative force and she is the tech wizard. Please welcome Emily and Alan Braithwaite. Hi guys, welcome.
Oh yes, thank you for the round of applause. Hello.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today. Is that right? Is that and is that because he's just not?
Well, no, we had a bit of a role reversal. So my background was like IT, tech, things like that. And then we started this business and Emily was kind of learning it all. And we just found ourselves crossing over, and it was almost like the years I'd sort of stifled my creativity suddenly unleashed, and Emily was getting really into the kind of technical element, and we literally crossed over. So I now kind of forge ahead with the creative noise, and Emily does the majority of our technical.
I'm the mechanics behind the background.
You are everyone prefers you.
Well, let's talk, before we get to Digital Circus, which is your community, let's start by talking about Yellow Tuxedo, which is your company, which predates the community by a little bit, and that was an evolution from what the two of you were doing before. Can you tell us a little bit about the history of the company?
Go on then, Emily.
Can we do it? Okay, yeah. So Yellow Tuxedo started in 2019, and previous to that, Alan and I had worked together in another business from about 2012. So we were married, we were a husband and wife team, and you were not yet divorced. So high five that.
You're due for my first wife.
Okay, thank you. But we had an outdoor events business, so we're working a lot in corporate events, festivals, outdoor weddings, things in the UK. And we, previous to that, working in that business, had corporate careers in exactly what we do now. So when we started working together in 2012, we found ourselves marketing our business the way that we, with all the skills we already had. And because of the outdoor events industry, we were working with marquee suppliers and florists and caterers and all of the other sort of assets that you have in an event. And they kept going, Emily, and how do you do what you do? Because we did not want to be the types of people going to trade fairs or wedding fairs and sitting there going, hi, here's the thing, would you like to buy it? We moved everything online. And we realised that there was this opportunity there for so many operational sort of small business owners there who tech and online isn't really their strongest set of skills there, to help people to understand how to market their business and be more visible online by themselves, because not everyone has the budget to be working with a large scale marketing agency, or they don't want to. So how do they move themselves online? So 2019, we started Yellow Tuxedo as kind of a slow exit to being an outdoor events. We have 3 small children. We wanted to spend more time with our kids rather than being sort of out on events. And we started that really slowly as a bit of an exit strategy. Now, the thing is,
it got sped up quite quickly, didn't it?
It got sped up really quickly, because just as we started to design that business, we had the big C. We had COVID started, and then the whole world just completely turned.
The other big C. I think the big C is something else. So this is like the other big C.
The one that we don't like to talk about these days.
No, I'm all right. Yeah.
So yeah, that predates the Digital Circus, which is our community. We were thinking about how we can do online support for small business owners. We were doing more consultancy, and we still do consultancy and kind of helping with training. When COVID hit, we realised that actually so many of those small business owners that we were working with in that one-to-one space were frozen still. They did not know what to do next because...
Sorry, I am interjecting upon it, but you know what it is? It's sometimes for people to achieve something, there's a couple of things missing. And a lot of times it's 2 main things. One, they're a bit scared. And the other one is they don't know how, right? And we thought if we can kind of help these businesses achieve their goals by showing them how to do the technical part, then there's nothing stopping them achieving their goals other than the fear part, which perhaps they can work on, or that might disappear as they understand the technical part. So we just wanted to start sharing that. And that was the principle for Yellow Tuxedo, wasn't it? To work with small businesses and show them how to do the things. Some of what we do is a bit like Robin Hood. We feel like we're robbing from the big brands, the big corporates, kind of tweaking it, tidying up, making it simpler, and then sharing it out and go, this is how you do this, and this is how you achieve this. Because when we were in our events business, our outdoor events business, we a large TV program in the UK called ITV's This Morning contacted us to come and do some work with them. And people were like, how much did you pay for that PR? And we're like, we didn't pay for that PR. They came to us. And it's like, well, how did you achieve that? Okay, so let's start showing people how we achieved it, because the formula, well, it's not, no, it is simple. It is simple. I was about to say it's not. Of course it's simple. Everything's available on the internet. Everything's simple when you know it.
Yeah. So I love this because you guys come to the community space from the in-person event space. And in a lot of ways, that mirrors my own journey. I mean, I was a content creator because I was a radio broadcaster and a podcaster, but I was producing a lot of events in the forms of concerts for my radio stations over the years. And I think when you understand how in-person events work and what makes them work and where the magic is, I think that actually really helps when you start to build an online community, because a lot of the same principles apply. It's just, they're virtual instead of in person.
Totally.
Sorry, Seth. No, totally. I wanted to agree with you, and that was one of the things we did actually, because when we sat there, and this was all predominantly during lockdown at the time, and when we sat there thinking about it, we were like, what are people missing from events? What are they missing? And we asked our audience, we asked them, what are you missing? And some of the things people were talking about was the food at an event, the conversations at an event, and all these other things. So we went, stuff this, let's run an online conference, but try and make it as real real life as possible, right? So we had this focus on human connection in a digital world at the time, and we arranged this event where you could order food to be delivered to your house on the day of the event. We finished the event with sundowners, so we're all on screen drinking gin and tonics, talking about the end of the day. The platform we used allowed for conversations in the foyer as you're moving in between rooms. What was it? I've forgotten what the platform was called. Hop-in allowed for these things to happen. And one of the best bits of feedback we ever got from that event, from bringing these people together, was they wrote, I felt like I've been at a conference, an in-person event all day, and I've not left my office. And it was like, just because if we hadn't have had that experience in real world in-person stuff, I don't know if we'd been able to bring it to the online world at that time.
Yeah. One of the things I've noticed about events is that there are events that are built for audiences, and then there are events that are built for community building, where you are trying to, facilitate connections between the attendees. And of course, you can do both. But for example, when I was producing concerts, or if you go to the movies, right, that's about an audience, right? In fact, they literally tell you, don't talk to the guy next to you, we'll kick you out. As opposed to speed networking or speed dating, where it's all about, making connections between other people. And, with virtual events, you got to think about it, because I think often when people do virtual events, they focus just on the content portion. Yeah. And it just becomes a series of webinars, where really I think what gives it that feel of being in person is those connections, those points where people can actually connect with one another and setting up the events so that can happen, right? So,
Totally.
Go ahead.
No. After you. To be honest,
so British. I was so British.
No, I felt there was a pause, so I thought I'd fill it with something. The reality was I should have just eased up and awaited the next. I was like, opportunity to say something, and it was I should have just paused.
Let me give you an opportunity to say something. You've touched on this, but when you set out to build a community, often it starts with the shared mission. Why are these people coming together? What are they trying to do? And why do they get value out of doing it with each other? Can you tell me what the shared mission of your members are?
Yeah, and it has evolved. It's important to note it has evolved over time. So we started the Digital Circus in 2020. So we're nearly 5.5, 6 years into it now, and it has evolved. But when we started the Digital Circus, it was to be a point of contact where people didn't feel so lonely in a place where the world did not make any sense to anyone at that point.
That kind of still is the goal, Emily.
The world does not make any sense.
The world still makes no sense.
But with it started being, let's just have some arm's length help and support to make sure that people had somewhere that they could come and they could feel heard and have that support so they keep with their legs underwater like a swan, like keep going underwater. And that, as we came out of COVID, is still the core kind of mission for people, as Alan says. But what we realised is that human connection, regardless whether you're online or offline, has to be the epicenter of everything. People still want to have human connection. We're all, especially as small business owners, we are all, a lot of us fighting our own fight in our own little lane, a lot of it's quite lonely. We're all trying to get from that A to B, and actually to have the knowledge that someone sat to your right, virtually or not, can have your back there. It's a really nice space, and that has been kind of the core mission, is to make sure that someone knows that they have somewhere to come. They can't ask a stupid question. There's no such thing as a stupid question, and that they will feel supported for as long as they want to stay with us.
Actually, that's really important, isn't it, as the way it's evolved? Because we never plan for the we don't even really see it as a community. We see it more as a team of people kind of connecting together to achieve something. But we also didn't want somewhere where people wear a badge of honor. Oh, I'm a member of the Digital Circus. We didn't want that. Now, that does naturally happen at times. They tag it and go, we've done this, etc. Yeah. But we wanted it to be that safe space. We're big on business on your terms, where there isn't one size fits all. We're all different. All of this, we want to celebrate that. But having a place where you can come, get that knowledge, be yourself, a port in the storm, so to speak, has always been there for us.
Yeah. So let's now differentiate that from the organizational value. In other words, we just talked about what your members get out of being part of the Digital Circus. What does Yellow Tuxedo get out of it? Are you monetizing it directly? Is there a membership fee? Are there other benefits?
Yeah.
We're coming to you live from Bora Bora. Thank you, members of the Digital Circus. No, we're not.
One day,
we're in Hampshire in England.
We'll be drinking pina coladas in Barbados, and how amazing this! No, we monetize the community from day one, and in terms of that, from a business perspective with Yellow Tuxedo, so it is a really affordable opportunity to get involved with the Digital Circus. It's always been quite a low ticket offering, and we will always keep it as a low ticket offering because, again, our main sort of driver is to make sure that we're an accessible place for someone who needs the help. We don't want it to be so arms that they can't get to what they need if they are struggling. So we've always wanted it to be an affordable space for someone to be part of. What that does mean for us is twofold. Number one is that our reputation now is to be that we are that arm around your shoulder to make sure that you're. So we have people talking about us. We have our advocates there, and also from a Yellow Tuxedo point of view, from that part of the business, we are, by having the community aspect there and for them to understand how we teach, how we break things down, how we can help support from A to B, means that when it comes to that upsell of our larger ticket programs, of our one-to-one services, that hard work's already been done because they recognise that we are that trusted source there. So we do have that kind of, from that monetization, they start with the membership, and a lot of our members, our core members, have been with us since day one.
We have members since day one.
We've got people who've been with us for nearly 6 years now.
June 15th, 2020.
We know the exact date.
We've still got members. Thank you.
But that does mean that it's an easier sell for when we do need to kind of monetize with our larger services. They already know us.
And I think the larger services is important to kind of... Ours, okay, we do offer, so you got the base membership, then we've got the Digital Circus Plus, where you get an hour every month with Emily working, because she's the clever one on technical stuff. We do host the odd in-person mastermind or no homework hub and things like that. We call it a dining table mastermind. It's in our house around our dining table, and no homework hub co-working. So there are levels in that. Then we've got one-to-one service levels. You can have an online visibility blueprint time with Emily and things like that.
What is with me?
Well, you're the technical one. We'll get into the stuff I do in a moment. But we've also got layers of events. So we have Christmas Shenanigans, which is our Christmas meal, the Funpreneurs Big Day Out, where we take entrepreneurs to a local theme park for the day. And we're building up to a trip to Morocco this November. So we've booked out an entire hotel in the middle of Marrakesh, and we're inviting people to come for a time and space. So that's less about the technical side and more about them as individuals and human connection. And it's really really important that our business does do more than just one thing to us, and we believe our clients, because we don't want them to just come to us, get the technical information and go off. And this isn't about revenue producing, this is about life, right? We want to offer everything because we're human beings living our life. We've only got one life and we want to go on more adventures. So we're like, well, hold on, let's invite people along on these adventures with us.
I love that. And I love the Morocco trip. That sounds like a lot of fun.
You're coming, Seth, you're coming.
Yeah, I would very much like to pack my bag.
I'll send you a link.
Please. I'm in America. They may not let me back in. It's touchy at the moment. Let me ask about your community space, because what we're really doing when we're community builders is we're creating a space where people can come together and connect. That could be an in-person space, that could be a virtual space, it could be a combination of the two. What does your space look like, and what do people do when they enter that space?
Yeah, what do they do? A lot of things. That's a great question. And again, it has changed and evolved over the years. So when we first started the membership with the community back in that June 2020, we had simply, we were doing Zoom calls, and we had a portal on our website where someone could sign up to join and taking that recurring revenue from us. And then all of our recordings are available on our website.
Sorry, I'm just laughing. We rang up our web guy and went, we think we might do a membership. Do you reckon you can get it done in 48 hours? Because we're going to go live on Thursday. And he's like, are you kidding me? So.
And because that's what at that time was all it was meant to be. It was meant to be a source of information for people, and come along to the Zoom calls if you want to in person, or you can watch the replays in your own time if that's not your bag. And again, it evolved, it changed, and we realised that community aspect was much more important than the educational aspect of what we deliver. We still deliver the education, but the people around them was where the magic happened. So we were early adopters of Heartbeat.
Thank you, AppSumo.
Thanks, AppSumo. We've got an AppSumo lifetime deal back in the day, and haven't looked back. But we moved over to Heartbeat 3 years ago.
February, March. Yeah, it was
Probably
3 years
3 years ago, to have that space, because what we were lacking with the first guys of a Digital Circus was that place for people to have conversations. So we wanted to make sure that there was a forum space there. Again, we don't want that to necessarily be the noisiest space. If you need to come in and you want to speak, or you want to share, or again, feel your boots.
Interestingly, sorry, a relevant interjection. Because we are online visibility specialists, and our focus was online visibility. We always want to encourage conversation to go on in the DM, on social media, or wherever else it needed to be. But we learned quickly that going back to that safe space, they didn't always want to, and they didn't even know who the other members were some of the times because of the way we built it in the early days. So to Heartbeat, which solved it.
Heartbeat was our solution for that, because it was a space for a forum if you want it. And again, there's always that option if you want it. We do community matchups once a month, so there's that opportunity to meet new members. We offer a virtual coffee morning once a month, which we actually have now opened out past our Digital Circus community to our wider Yellow Tuxedo community, because again, it's a great shop window to see the fun, the shenanigans, the playfulness we have within our own community. It's a great way of them kind of getting a snapshot of what that feels like. So we have a virtual coffee morning. It's like the least networking event you'll ever go to.
Ditch the elevator pitch.
No elevator pitches, none of that. We just talk about real life. How's your week been? What's been? What's the crack? What's gone right? What's gone wrong?
This is a great example, right? So we're chatting to Seth. We're talking about communities, but my takeaway is actually he was in radio and events.
Yeah.
And that's that real life connection that always will resonate the most.
Alan wanted to be a radio presenter, but he did not fit the mold.
Well, if we got a YouTube channel, I don't need to be a radio DJ anymore.
Want him. So yeah, I think that's where we stand with it. There's space for them if they want it, and we do it in person if you want it to. If you don't, you can stay online. There's options.
Inclusivity was really important, actually. Because there are people who aren't mobile, who can't run out the door, who don't have a car, can't afford to drive, right? And as Emily talked about, we wanted to be accessible and inclusive from day one. And actually, online is that, regardless of what whether you want to be in person and the power and benefits of in person, online ultimately is the most inclusive way.
Yep.
Oh, I hope it is. I've just put that out there.
So if I'm hearing you right, you've got the online space that you built on Heartbeat, which is the forum and everything, but it sounds like events are still very important to the strategy and to the engagement and to getting people involved.
Yeah. If we take the Funpreneurs Big Day Out, for example, which this June we go to a theme park. There's more to it than just going to a theme park, but the principle.
No, there's not. We eat really bad fries and go on roller coasters.
But
it's great.
actually, that day out has two jobs. Job one is a summer party for the members of the Digital Circus and the people we talk to regularly in our client base, etc., etc. Job two, and actually someone asked me this today. They said, do you make much money on that? I said, no, that's not its job. Its job is almost a lead magnet, for want of a better phrase. We want to provide, and then obviously there's a kind of a third job of just providing a space for entrepreneurs, funpreneurs to come and meet each other in a kind of get to know each other as humans. So that's why we do it. So we have a tick box on a summer party for the hardcore audience. We have a tick box for bringing new people in, and a tick box for them getting to know each other. And it's just ridiculous fun. And we want to focus on the people every time. Every time focus on. We don't need to turn up and talk business. We can get to know each other. Everything about our business is online. It's on LinkedIn. It's on our website, So one of the people of the Funpreneurs Big Day Out, I caught up with them a few months afterwards, and she said, "Oh, I sent some work to such and such's direction. Gemma sent some work Kate's direction. I don't need to be vague." And she said it was really simple for me because after screaming next to her on a roller coaster, I knew how much I trusted her. And it's like crazy, these little life things we sort of take for granted, but we shouldn't do. Human people every day of the week.
So that leads right into my next question, which is, how are you measuring the success of this community? And let me actually break that down into two buckets, because we talked about the shared mission of your members and what they're trying to accomplish. So how are you measuring whether you're able to help them do that? But also we talked about the organizational value, what this community is doing for Yellow Tuxedo, and how are you measuring that?
Perfect. So we look at this. You're going to make me answer it.
This is definitely a you question. This is a serious question. I mean, I don't do. I'm discussing bloody hot cross buns on LinkedIn, right? Serious stuff's you.
So taking it from the measuring with our members and our community there. So we have, from our Digital Circus community explicitly there, we have always prided ourselves that we've kept quite a small membership, and that is done intentionally. We don't want to have thousands, tens of thousands of members in that space, because we know the name of every single member, what their business is, what their pain point is, what their desires are, where they're trying to get to, their A to B. So we've always been able to have that level of conversation. We are always asking how we can be of help and service. Their businesses are still running. They're still coming back for more all the time. But we are also really, really, really keen on getting that real-time feedback. So we are always asking with questionnaires. We do our quarterly kind of feedback forms to make sure that we are designing the membership in a way that they want and things that they need. Our sessions have changed. Our sort of online sessions have changed so many times over the last few years to fit their needs and what they want.
That's true.
We were doing so much one-directional explaining and educational pieces that actually that's one part of our month now. The sessions that get the most feedback in terms of people turning up and having conversations are the Eat the Frog sessions, the co-working spaces where they can be side by side with their neighbours and still moving their businesses forward.
Yes.
From a organizational point of view, again, we all measure, well, from a financial point of view, is it still viable for us to be doing? Because at the end of the day, for any community, and you'll know that, Seth, it's so labor intensive running a successful community to make sure that you're not just dropping and running. We are in that space all the time. We are so accessible to our members all the time. It has to be financially worth our while at the same time. Otherwise, it's just noise, and we're not actually feeding our 3 kids ever.
They need new shoes, Emily.
Damn it! But from a reputational point of view, that is what we measure. We're looking at those social cues. We're looking at the social proof out there. We're looking at seeing how we've helped Nicola or John or whoever to see what they're doing, and we're showcasing those case studies, and that reflects on us as well. So that's how we measure both sides. But really, it is just so good to see people thriving and seeing those incremental steps forward with their business. They may be teeny, minute ones, but everyone is moving their businesses forward.
I think that's so true, isn't it? We may not have a suite of KPIs and ROI, like whatever percentages that we like to track. That's not our style. We're more, like I say, we're banging on about the people side of things. But knowing that our clients' businesses are not closing and are still growing, however small that is, right, is so important. It's such an important kind of metric that you can't truly. We don't have a spreadsheet that tracks how many clients' businesses have shut and how many are still going.
No, we don't. But and the other thing that I'm really keen that we do. So, but when someone pays to be part of the paid community with Digital Circus, when they leave, we're also quite excited when they leave in a good way, because sometimes it's done its job. That person has felt the confidence to step out by themselves and not need to have us as their support. But they stay, and they always stay. And this is the language we always use. They stay as part of the Digital Circus family. They're part of the alumni. They are always, so we will always still reference them in everything we're doing moving forward. So they feel that at any point they can come back and be part of that family.
You could leave, but you can't hide.
You can never hide.
So you talk about the feedback that you get from the members, and one of the things that you've said a couple of times here is that the community has changed or evolved over time. And, coming from the world of content creation, I think this is the hardest thing for people to wrap their minds around, because I come from a world where you have total control over the thing until the moment you hit publish, and then it's out in the world and you don't touch it again. You release your Hollywood blockbuster, you write your novel, you publish your podcast episode, your YouTube video goes up, and it's done. And that is not the case when you are building a space for community. It is an ongoing process, and it's really an act of co-creation with your members. Can you talk about that?
It has to be. And I think if anyone who the narrative I see online, which really sort of grinds at me, is there's like this formula, work on this form. You find a 6-figure, 7-figure business coach going, do this formula, this is what's going to work, you're going to make your millions, and again, we'll all be on Barbados drinking pina coladas. You're never going to win if you take that approach to community building, because that's not what it's about. As one stop, that one formula will not fit every single membership or every single community out there, because Alan keeps saying we're all human. We're built on human connection, and therefore it has to be a two-way conversation. If you only go out there to project what you think that person wants because that's going to make you the most money, or that's what that coach told you, you are going to fail. The key to what I feel is our success is our active listening. That active listening to understand that what we think you need may not be what they actually need, and how can we be supportive and be of use, of purpose, to make sure that we are giving you what you need. So you have to be listening, you have to be reacting. And if you're too scared to ask, then you have to have a good short sharp look at yourself and go, why is that? So we are always asking for feedback on sessions. We're always sort of in those conversations and opening dialogue out there, even to when someone exits our community as well, they have that sort of exit questionnaire as they leave, because we want to make sure that we're doing everything we can. Hopefully they've left on good terms, and 9 times out of 10, we can't say anyone's
9.9 times
9.99999% of the
it's not
good. But if it's a learning style, for example, because we do attract quite a lot of neurodiverse
that's been a large evolution, actually.
We have a lot of neurodiversity in our community as well, and actually one learning style doesn't suit another learning style, and we all sit back and go, okay, how can we break this down further? How can we make sure that we are giving enough information to you to feel that it's going in your brain and sticking, that stickability, without you feeling that overwhelmed? Because our job is not done if we completely make someone feel even more stressed than before they started.
Yeah, it is like, I can see now you've got a creator with a large audience who feels that a community is a logical next step. And it is, like you say, there is kind of do you want to do some high value ticket items? Do you want to do a community, so low ticket but more people? Do you want to do it's like the marketing rulebook, insert company name here, and marketing's the same, right? So many people think it is just a simple book, when the reality is not. And I do think one of the things we've got very right is being approachable and honest and normal, in inverted commas. Not that we can say
it's normal. It's 2026, Alan. Can't say that.
We had a session in the Big Top this week, and it generated so much we didn't even ask for feedback, but people just kept messaging us. There was a couple of things they felt could be better, and there's some of them thought this was my epiphany I needed, but they just sent it, and those DMs came in on Instagram, on Heartbeat, and elsewhere, and they just kept coming in, and we're like, actually, part of that honest and open part of the success is the honest and openness of how we do it.
So that's what you've done right. Can we take a moment and talk about things that you may have done wrong and learned from and changed? I mean, are there any things
Have we got long enough for that? You said half an hour, Seth. We're just glossing over, mate. We're sticking to the positive. We don't want to delve on the bad stuff.
Well, but I mean, looking back, what advice would you give to other people who are at the beginning of their community building journey? What did you learn from, and what would you maybe do differently?
No, actually, can I answer that? I know something 100%. Before you launch it, understand what financials you want from it. What do you want from it, right? And
if it is a financial.
If it is financial. And you need to keep the gas going until you hit that. You cannot truly ease up on that community kind of starting until you get that goal. Because if you only get halfway to that goal, and it's realistic, it could be a break-even goal rather than a super stretch, right? But if you don't get there, that community will never sit in the right space in your head. And it's so important to get that right. And ours in the early days was a little bit up and down until we got to the place where we wanted it to be. And I just sometimes think if we'd have kept the gas on a little bit sooner, then that's right. For me, when it comes to closed door policy, open door policy, and all these other things, I think they're all much the muchness, if I'm honest. We've tried both and seen pretty much the same results.
And we only did the closed door offering based on someone else's advice, and it just didn't sit well with us. So I think trust your gut, do what you feel was right to you,
and for the people in it,
and
right?
For the people in it. So the reason we stopped with the closed door and had more an open door policy is because I don't want you to have to wait with that. Again, marketing 101, the scarcity model, wait for the doors to be open and flood them in. Actually, from what our mission is, if you are standing still in your business feeling really the most lonely you've ever thought and you don't know how to go forward, I don't want you to feel like you have to wait 6 months before you can get access to us. No, thank you. That's not what we want. So we will have a drip feed of people coming through, and it works a lot better. Like I said, we have that stickability. We have people with us for 6 years and they're not going anywhere. That counts for something. The thing that I would say in terms of a learning we had, not a failure, not a problem.
We never fail. We always learn.
Is
blah blah
blah blah blah. Is that offering too much in the early days?
We want to add
value. You're always trying to add value. You're going to put this in the mix and that in the mix. We're going to add that session. We're going to do this there. We're going to have a mixer over here. We're going to add this benefit here, and it becomes so much noise. I think the one thing that we really took from that was we are not the center of everyone else's universe.
Whatever, pipe down, Shark.
Not the centre of everyone. Just because someone is in your community, they may be in that community and that one as well. And we all recognise, especially in 2026, how freaking noisy the world is out there. The online space is noisy and it's overwhelming. So therefore, when you're offering too much, people don't know what to do or they feel like they're going to switch off. So taking it back a notch to make sure that they don't feel overwhelmed by so much on offer, but also not diluting the amazingness of doing a few things really, really well and then building it if we need to.
Well, we did that. So first of all, going back to the noise, that's genuinely one of the reasons we're running off to Morocco is because there's so much noise online. We thought, just want to sit there with some other human beings and get to know them. So that is Morocco happening. Time and Space Morocco 2026.
Nice.
But the other thing is exactly, Emily said, we did fall foul of running these hour-long sessions where we felt we needed to jam-pack it full of kind of technical learning. And we're sitting there, people like literally dying as they're listening to it. So we evolved that into what we now called one task workshops, where we only do one thing in that hour session, and where possible, they need to have completed it before they leave or understand what they're doing when they do leave, if they can't do it there and then. And I think that's been really important. But then part of that's talking to the members again. You know what? It sounds crazy. Where if you have a community, you have people who are buying your product on tap to learn from. It's not like you're selling something once a month and you go, oh, I wonder what, they're literally there. They want to talk to you. They want to share stuff. And, if you're not talking to them and learning from them, you're missing out on the biggest opportunity of a community builder.
Yeah. I love that. And I love that, that advice that there is this temptation to just overstuff it and to keep putting especially content in or more things in, thinking that will add to the value, and that maybe doesn't always, and that's not why people show up. Let me ask one final question. One of the things I love about community are sort of those moments of serendipity, those moments where people connect to each other and you see magic come out of it, those relationships. Are there any that you've seen in your community that you can share with us? Any stories?
we always love the fact that they all connect with each other, and then they go on there and are like, don't forget us. Like we have seen again, because we've come from us. I use what.
I'm just I know exactly what you're talking about, and I was just laughing about it.
No,
Carry on.
it's magic, and like
It's beautiful, Emily.
Alan used the word team earlier on, and it's so true. And we come from a space where we're all lonely, and I've used that word a few times in this interview as well. And it's just really, I get the warm and fuzzies all the time when I see in plain sight that people are walking away from this and actually finding true friends and true confidants and people that they can partner with. And we see those collaborations again, we're all online. We see them happening in plain sight. We see those collaborations happening in whether a podcast episode or a partnership when they're working together. We have a few business owners who are very much down the eco-friendly industry, and they found each other and they have got a spark of an idea to create a project together, and we introduce those. We introduce them.
It is not. Sorry, I'm so sorry for interrupting.
It's okay.
But I remember the first Digital Circus Live, so the one-day conference you mentioned. And afterwards was like this, I don't know what to say, but this, we brought all these people together. We'd actually connected about 3 or 4 different kind of spaces we were involved with, because it was still the early days of us, and brought them all together for our event. And then afterwards was like this, when you drop a paint on water in art and it goes off like that, like a snowflake, it was like that of podcast guesting and guest blogging and chatting on socials. And these people would just, and it was genuine. I said beautiful, mildly facetiously. It was a beautiful moment watching these people connect and grow. And some of those relationships are still there now. One of our best mates in this kind of business world, it started on a voice note in Instagram. I said, thanks for following us. We still chat. He was a magician on we'd open up our online events with magic, and he would do the magic. And we're still chatting now. It's brilliant.
And I think for that same digital conference that we had, the best bit of litmus paper there of how well that had fared and what we had created and we were watching, that serendipitous moment, was we had this sundowner session. End of a whole day of learning and chatting and foyers and all that kind of stuff. We had everyone in the room together, and they had a mail order gin and tonic sent to them, and they were pouring their glasses and were sat back. And then the session finished. It was like 1/2 the hour. I'm like, okay, and that's us done. And we could not get them out.
No one wanted to leave.
No one wanted to bloody well leave. We need to go. We need to go and pick up our kids.
Yeah, our kids are finishing.
But that to me was a sign of actually we've done it right. They are happy. They feel supported. They're in a safe space, and they are chatting away. And we step back from that feeling really proud.
Oh, I love that. I love stories like that. Well, Emily and Alan, thank you so much. If people are interested, it is Yellow Tuxedo is the company. People can find it at yellowtuxedo.co.uk. And the Digital Circus is the community, particularly if you are a small business owner or a freelancer. Absolutely go check it out. Thank you so much for sharing the story with it. This was really enlightening.
Thank you
so much for having us.
I mean, this sounds crazy, but Seth, you just dropped us a contact through our website, but isn't that the power of this world we live in now? We are truly pushing human connection and real people, right? It's a massive thing for us. But the bit you can't ignore is exactly how we've got here today. Every step we've taken and every step you've taken has then connected online to evolve in this here. And that is so important as we all move on and evolve our businesses. So thank you for dropping us that note through our website. Truly appreciate it.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. And well, thank you for responding. Thank you for coming on.